Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Scott's here. What's up, Scott? Oh, the live last night, it just ended abruptly. I'm assuming that they cut you off. What is up, Jen? Judith, hi. Judith, I've been seeing a lot of those sandhill cranes. I appreciate you explaining that to me. Hello. Oh, Kara's. Yeah, I assumed they were going to cut you off. They're good for that. Hello.
Hi, how y'all
Good.
doing?
Good. How?
Doing good. Trying to stay dry. We got bad weather
Oh
again.
no.
I got really bad weather too. We lost power, and my front yard is like a lake right now, so I'm kind of worried. I'm kind of worried. And actually, the electricity, like the box for the power line, is like submerged in water. That's not good, right? That's not good.
Good.
No,
No, that's not good at all.
I'm not going outside.
Yeah,
I'm scared.
that's terrible. I was complaining because it's cold.
That's the least of our problems. It was
Yeah.
94 degrees today, and now it's like I call these mini hurricanes. It's funny because people from Florida say that this is just a thunderstorm, but I'm not originally from here. This is like a hurricane for me. It's bad.
Well, we're supposed to get snow tonight here in Oregon, so
Ew,
Wow.
yeah.
that doesn't sound right.
So it's cold.
So, Love in Paradise. We didn't get Valentine and Carlos tonight, but we did get Jordan and Everton. And I don't know, like this relationship is really puzzling to me because Everton seems to just do whatever he wants, and Jordan just forgives him, and everything is okay. Like I'm not thinking of marrying her after the 12 years, and the fact that he said, "Oh well, it was on and off. I never thought this was serious." I was like, "But during COVID, you were taking her money."
Yep.
That made it serious for her, okay? Like I don't know if that didn't make it serious for you, Everton, but when she was physically and financially supporting you through the entire COVID, we're talking 2.5 years, okay? That made it serious for her. So I don't know why in his mind he was like, well, it wasn't that serious. We were on and off. It wasn't that big of a deal. I didn't think that was the direction we were going in. Why isn't Jordan on the next? First of all, why hasn't she removed him as the power of attorney for her land and got on the next plane out of there? That's my question. What is she waiting around for? This guy clearly is not serious about her. He doesn't see a future with her, but he sees a future with her money.
Yeah.
And that's a huge red flag for me.
Well, if you are involved enough to buy property together, I would think that's pretty serious. I would never just buy a piece of land with someone I'm just hanging out with. Like
Exactly. Exactly. That's why she was saying that she thought that the engagement was back on,
yeah,
but apparently it wasn't. That
yeah,
she's invested more into this relationship than he has.
yeah, for sure. I don't know. I think that I mean, as we saw coming up next week, we find out he's been sending money to, like you said in the beginning, DeeDee, you said he's been sending it to all of his baby mamas. You were not wrong.
We did see that. She said, you've been sending money. And he was like, a small amount. I'm sorry. Any amount of her money,
You know,
Jordan's money, is too much.
Yep.
That is not what she signed on for. If
Yep.
she wants to help take care of Everton or maybe his mom and family, that's one thing. But to take care of the women, I mean, she used a different word, but take care of the women that he decided to have kids with, that's ridiculous. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, like, I don't care what the situation is. If you need to send money to her or one of the women that does have the child, why don't you ask Jordan?
Yeah.
Ask Jordan if that's okay to do with her money. Like, I don't like the way he just feels he's entitled to her money and he can do whatever he wants and he doesn't have to actually be honest with her about it. I don't like
I
it.
don't either. I think it's terrible.
I got a feeling, and until I see the title or some kind of paperwork on that land, I have a feeling that he didn't buy the land because the story he's given is just not adding up. It's really not.
I agree. I think that's absolutely correct, DeeDee. I think there's nothing to be seen, which is why we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then why would you go to Jamaica? I mean, I get it that, she wanted to meet his mom. I get it. But the first stop should have been Cayman Islands.
Yep.
Let me see this property, and then we can fly out to Jamaica to meet your mom.
100%.
Thanks for popping up, Katie. I love you. I'm so glad to hear that you guys are back for next season for 90 Day Fiance UK. Sorry, guys, this is off subject. I just want to say hi to Katie. She stopped in real quick to say hi. But yeah, I think that going to Jamaica, she wanted to meet the family and the kids, because I feel like that was going to solidify the relationship for her. Because in 12 years, it's ridiculous that she had never had a conversation with this man's mother. That's ridiculous.
So the kids, they're going to be freaking adults. I mean,
right. And I feel like the way that he's making her less involved in the family is keeping her out of the loop. It's making her feel like this isn't serious. And I think that's what he wants. He doesn't want it to be serious. And she was like, oh, I blame myself for assuming that we were engaged and assuming. And I was like, but you're paying for this man's life. You're financing his life. You're doing all these things for him. Are you really assuming? Like, I don't see how taking care of someone financially and going into business with them is making an assumption about your relationship. I'm sorry, I don't see how that is. I feel like what you're doing for him, she said it earlier in the season, she was like, there's no Cayman, there's no land without marriage. And I feel like that wasn't an assumption. I don't want her to blame herself for assuming that the relationship was more serious, because $600,000 to hand another person, I expect that you are marrying me, okay? Like, I expect a lot from you. And that's not an assumption. That's just part of the thing. Like, if I'm going to go into business with you and put my house on the line, she could lose where she lives, her livelihood. Everything that she's ever worked for could be gone if this man is lying to her. And he keeps lying to her.
Yeah.
That's what's even more worrisome, because it's like you said, what if there's no land? What if the money is, he swindled it, put it into an investment that went bad, and the money is just non-existent? Yeah. That is my worst fear.
I give her so much credit for the way that she began the following day. Like, if I go to bed pissed, I wake up pissed. So she went pissed and woke up and was like, yep, let's go get your mom the water. Let's do what we need to do. And, that puts so much into perspective for her, how hard it is for the mom. But I'd still pull out. I'd look at the mom and I'd say, you know what? Here's some money for you. Get your life together, but I can't be with your son.
Yeah, I want her to leave.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sick of her just saying whatever he does is okay.
Yeah.
And like you said, wake up the next morning and try to make it work. Stop trying to make something work that doesn't work. Like, I feel like she's so much better than this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
I feel the same way. And then, who wouldn't want to marry someone like her? I mean, she went to his mom's house. She sees how poor she's living, and she still is so accepting of his mom, of her home. She's not judging his mom nor his family at all. I mean, he is so stupid, like stupid. But until I see paperwork, I think he did something else with that money. I don't think there was ever any land.
I agree.
Yeah, I definitely think that he's swindling her in some way. I mean, he's been swindling her for 12 years. Let's just be realistic. We figured it out. For 12 years, he's been swindling her because he thinks in 12 years, there's no point of getting married.
Yeah.
Even though he's been taking her money and they're in business together. So we know for a fact that there's some swindling going on. We just don't know to what extent. Like, he's been using her and playing her this whole time. And the fact that she doesn't have any paperwork that we've seen that proves the land was purchased, I think is really worrisome. Because she's like, oh, I just gave him power of attorney. He handles all of that. I just gave him the money. That's worrisome to me. Like, you need to see paperwork. You need to, why isn't her signature on anything?
Also,
like, that really worries me.
How did she just give him power of attorney? I've had power of attorney over both of my parents, and it was a lot of work here in the States together. So I can't imagine how hard it would be to give somebody in another country power of attorney. That had to be a lot of work. So does he really have power of attorney, or is that something that, she said, let's do this, and he was like, okay, I got it, and is just telling her, attorney.
He probably has the rights to that land and she doesn't. That's my fear. Is if he did buy the land, I think she's left off of it completely. Because is it possible to buy land in a country you're not a citizen of?
I really don't honestly.
Right. So
I don't know. I know each country has different laws. Now, like, I'm familiar with Mexico, as you all know. Now, I could go over there and buy all the land I want. I don't have to be I don't have to be a citizen of Mexico. I can go over there and buy whatever I want. But I don't know how, other countries are.
Don't worry, I'm Googling it.
okay, good. Because I was like, I didn't realize that you could go to Mexico and buy land and not even be a citizen.
Yeah.
That's
I can
crazy.
open up checking accounts. I can buy property. I can do whatever I want to. Yeah.
You could use it commercially. What? Okay, that shows that I have no idea. I didn't even realize that. I thought you had to have citizenship to make money in that country.
No.
See, I guess
now for me to be able to live there longer than 6 months at a time, I would have to have a visa. I could live there on my passport, but every 6 months I would have to go and get it renewed.
Okay, this says there are no restrictions on foreign ownership of real estate if the property is for personal use, and there are no annual property or capital gains taxes. And that's specific for the Cayman Islands.
Okay. And yeah, it's not commercial use yet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that makes sense. So I guess it's possible. So fingers crossed that land is actually in Jordan's name. That's what's important in this situation, because Jordan needs to have ownership of that land. That's the only thing that would keep value, so she could sell it to get any of the money back.
But how if she hasn't even seen the land yet?
I know.
The title to the property in the Caymans is absolute, and then in parentheses it says fee simple, based on the Torrens system. Each property has a property register, which can be obtained at the Lands and Survey Department, showing its legal description, history of ownership, and record of liens. She needs to look into that.
Yeah. Right away, sooner than later.
Yeah.
Because the way that he behaves and acts, and the way that he's so careless with her money, and he's like handing it to whoever he wants to hand it to, she needs to make sure that this is even legit. Because first of all, we found out he was cheating on her right in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And he didn't deny it. He was just like, whatever. She didn't get mad enough, in my opinion. She was just like, okay, don't do it again. Don't lie to me. And I'm like, I've never met a woman to react this way to finding out that you're cheating on her. And then the woman is calling her, what did she say? Desperate or
pathetic.
Right. And I was like, that is warrant for a woman to throw a drink in your face, if not the whole drink in the whole glass, right? That's enough disrespect for her to just end it right then and there. But the fact that she keeps pushing on, I want Jordan to love herself a little bit more, okay? Like, Jordan, you're beautiful, you're intelligent, you have so much success going for you. You don't have to deal with Everton just because he's familiar. 12 years does not make him adequate to be with you. It doesn't make him enough. It doesn't make him a right guy.
Yeah.
Like, I just want her to just love Jordan a little more and just say, you know what? I've dedicated a lot of time, but that doesn't mean that I have to make this work.
See, and I also feel like, I mean, in the beginning when she hadn't told him about how she was making money, with her videos and whatnot, I feel like she thought that his reaction to that was going to be so prolific that was almost as bad as cheating in her mind, which is why I think that she didn't react so, over the top about him cheating, when hers is not that bad at all. I mean, if I found out someone was sending videos versus someone cheating on me, there's a big difference. So now he's thinking, he's just, her reaction to it was literally a free ticket to do it again.
Yeah.
That was a halt, because he's going to be like, well, she didn't get mad last time, so it's fine. Yeah. I think situation.
And for him to say too, and for him to say, why would he say this? And for him to say that they have been on and off the whole 12 years that they've been together, just because they bought this land together, that he did not think that she wanted to get married.
Yeah.
That I was like, what?
Yeah, that's
what?
Yeah. First of all, most women want to get married unless they tell you otherwise. I always tell guys that, like, don't you ever assume that a woman doesn't want to get married because she hasn't mentioned it to you, she does. Unless she says that she doesn't want to get married, her dating you is leading up to you getting married. She is not literally wasting her years away on you. Most women have a goal in mind. There are some women who, you know, have been married before and they just don't believe in marriage, and that's not on the table. But for a lot of women, the dating process, the courting process, dealing with your BS, that is towards the goal of getting married. They are not just sitting around dealing with your crap. Like, I don't know what women that Everton has been dating for 12 years is not just, oh, I thought we were just having fun. Women stop having fun after a couple of years. They're ready to get married.
12 years and $600,000 worth of property. That's marriage.
Yes. That's more than marriage. I feel like he should give her a kidney at this point, right? I feel like she purchased a kidney. He should give her a kidney now.
He needs to give her something.
Just take it.
So Juan and Jessica. So Jessica is leaving to go back to Wyoming, and Juan is going back on the cruise ship.
So
and
sad. I felt so bad watching her get ready to leave. I was like, oh, I can't imagine having to leave if I was pregnant.
I know.
That just hurt.
It doesn't make sense that she's leaving at this point. I mean, it does make sense because the baby has to be born in the US, but it's going to be very difficult because he can't be there for the birth. And I've heard stories where dads weren't there for the birth, you know, for different reasons, and they've regretted that for everything. Like maybe they were deployed in the army. There's all these different scenarios where the father couldn't be there, and that's literally the one thing when you ask them if you could go back in time, that's the one thing they want to change. So I know, and then Jessica going back home pregnant without her support system, I know she has Megan, but it's not the same, right? It's not the same. You need the guy with you, like, just to be there to squeeze his hand and to call him names for doing this to you. That is something that women need, you know, like to say, you did this to me, I hate you. You know, that is the support you need in that room, because having a baby, I was told, is the most painful and like emotional, detrimental thing that a woman can go through, because she literally feels like she's dying. Like, it's literally the worst pain and the most insane process. So the support system needs to be there. So I'm really sad that the laws, the immigration laws in itself, are keeping him out. I hate that. And I've always felt like immigration has never been a law that looks out for children. When it comes to immigration, the laws, the children are always one that are being hurt. Their parents are being separated. They're not able to come to the countries where they can have a better life, they can have better healthcare, better education. I just feel like the immigration law needs to be geared more towards giving children better lives. I've always felt that way.
I agree completely.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. I've said each week that I've gained a little bit more respect for Juan each week. You know, I lost some thing, but this week, he was so sweet when she was leaving, but just his little comment about, please don't cry, don't ruin your eyelashes. It's like, he pays attention. But then he made the comment about her leaving is going to split the family that he didn't expect to love. I was like, oh, I love this. So I really hope that he's here. I hope that he's, you know, getting to be the dad that he wants to be, that he needs to be. I hope it all worked out, but that was sad.
So let's talk about him going back on the cruise ship, because that's the elephant in the room. Where everybody's worried about him going back on that ship, because we know he makes his money by flirting with women, and his line, the line for flirting and going over that line, is blurred with Juan at times. So I think everybody is like, this is his last hurrah, right? This is his last time on the cruise ship. He won't be doing this anymore. Is he gonna control himself? Because Megan has told us that he did not in the past. He is telling us this is all BS. That's not what happened. But we're just worried because, you know, when you have a bachelor party or a bachelorette party, people tend to say, this is the last time I'm going to be able to act this way. And I don't want his mind to go like, this is my last tour on the ship. I'm going to make sure that it's memorable, and I don't want anything to happen. And I think that's in the back of Jessica's mind too. She's like, I want to trust you, but I need you to give me every opportunity and reason to prove to me that I can. And I don't know if he's done that.
Yeah, but she doesn't get to go back on the cruise ship for 2 months. So there's that 2-month gap. But I have a feeling that Megan's been on every single cruise since. Megan's watching it. Everybody knows one now. So
well, they didn't before, they do now.
Yeah, he's not going to get away with anything. Everybody's going to be like, where's married guy on TV?
That's true.
Well, he did say something that I've been telling y'all from the beginning. That he did tell Jessica that he has to flirt a lot to get extra money. He admitted, and I've been saying that these guys and women that work on the ships as well. It's not just the men; it's the women too.
Yeah,
they like take it over. Like they really get into it, but that's how they make their extra money. You know, because they automatically get their gratuity. But they make extra money by the tips that you leave them in, like on top of the gratuity or either in cash.
Yeah.
That's how they get their extra tips. But I'm with Jessica, like what she said. You know, flirting, you only need to take it to a certain level. But he's taken as money. Well, she said money isn't the most important thing.
Right.
Yep.
So he's taking it as, you know, I have to do all this flirting and do what these women want me to do to make extra money. Well, what is more important, the money or your family?
Right. But in his mind, the more money, the better he can provide for the family. I get that.
Exactly what I was going to say.
But like Jessica said, you have to cut it off at a certain point.
Yeah.
Going on excursions and all this other stuff, that's way too much.
He's thinking about the apartments that he's building. He's thinking about the new baby. He's thinking about, because he's like, when I get to America, I can't work right away. Like, I think that his mind is in a different place. He's like, the more money that I can bring with me, the better. And I think Jessica is looking at it like, I don't care if you have 45 cents. I just want you to be faithful and not do anything that I wouldn't want you to do. And Juan is looking at it like, well, the apartments have to be done. I have to have money for this. I have the money for that. And I think that it's not really about him thinking about cheating on her. It's more so like, the more money I can make, the better. You know, a lot of people think that way. No one ever looks at it like, I can have $100 or I can have $50. I'll take the 50. Everyone's going to go for the 100. So I don't think that he's in his mind trying to do anything that Jessica wouldn't approve of. But I think that his focus, like you said, is just, I'm going to be a new dad. I'm going to be leaving my country where I'm allowed to work to go to a country where I won't be allowed to work right away. I just want to make sure that I have money to send back to build the apartments and to do all the things that I have going on. So I think that there's a disconnect there, because I think Jessica feels like he's just out, you know, wilding every night and drinking and flirting. And I think it's more so he's trying to maximize every dollar, every tip. But again, like you said, how important is money when it comes to losing everything? And a lot of men fail.
You can't put a price on your family.
Exactly.
You can't.
Jessica,
a lot of men fail when,
you know, Jessica's been on these cruises and she met him somehow and made it more than just a hangout. So she knows how it works. So, you know, by her giving him a limit, it's like, this is, you know, some flirting's okay, but like, you can't go there because that's how you got me. But that's it.
That's true. I didn't think of it that way. Now that you said that, that's how their relationship started. So it does make you feel a little insecure about that, because you know they're in the exact same place doing the exact same thing that brought you together. So that does make you feel a little uneasy. Because you're like, well, this is exactly how we got to know each other, how we started loving each other, how the relationship bloomed. Now you're in the same place, doing the same thing, talking to different people. And it's like, I don't want their outcome to be like ours. And you find, I didn't think of it that way. See, that's a really good point.
Yep. I feel very sorry for her, the way she has to feel about that. You know, that's a terrible feeling.
Oh, wait, I will say we didn't have our first kiss until we went to Colombia. We just flirted and exchanged numbers. And then 9 months later, I went to see him. Oh, so it was basically just flirting with them in the beginning, too. Thank you, Jessica, for the clarification.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's nice to have a little backstory on what we're talking about.
For sure. Yeah, that was all I could think about, was like, well, she knows how that happened. So if anybody's going to say, you know, this is where you're taking it and this is where it has to stop, it would be her.
So we saw Nicole and Lydia having a little pampered day. Do you guys know if they were still at the resort? It kind of looked like they were still at the resort to me. So I'm expecting some chaos in a future episode because we know that Liz has arrived at the resort and she's there to see Scott. And okay, I don't want to get sidetracked, but like, is it weird to anyone that Liz ignored Scott for 2 years and then all of a sudden she decided to reach back out? Does anybody find that really like peculiar?
I
Like
do.
for all of these years you ignored his existence like he didn't exist, and then all of a sudden you answer his call and you go on a trip with him. I don't know. It just caught me as like a red flag. I was like, because she still feels like she has feelings for him, but for 2 years those feelings were just turned off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm really worried about that.
She said when she got there, the only reason why she went back was because she was going to fight for him because he told her that he was there with another woman. That's the only reason.
But why did
She
she
said
wait?
it.
Right. Why did she wait 2 years? And it's not until she found out that he was in jeopardy of being removed from the market that she showed that interest to want to fight for him at all. Because I was like, you wouldn't even take his calls.
Yep.
Did you? So is that what you feel? Because yes. Okay. So let's talk about that. She's the same woman who took $17,000 from him in total and then didn't talk to him for 2 years. So the first thing I thought when I saw her landing and getting it to the resort and going on the island, I was like, huh, did the money run out? Don't judge me. I'm sorry. Don't judge me. Don't come for me. That's just the first thing that came to my mind. Because what are the odds that all of a sudden her phone works now?
Yep.
And she can return a phone call after 2 years. That just, I don't know. It just made me think, so the money ran out and he's a good source of income or cash, right?
She
Yep.
said that she broke it off with him because he wanted to get married. And the thought of being married or getting married scared her. That's why she quit talking to him. She broke it off. And she also said that she just happened to check her old email, and she had noticed that he was sending her emails for the past year and a half. Girl, please.
Yep.
Whatever.
That's
Come
the
on.
biggest thing I've ever heard.
I think
Just because, okay, so 2 adults, he says, hey, I'm thinking of marriage. Why couldn't she just say, hey, at this point in my life, I like where we are? Why do you have to break up with someone if you're not going in the same direction? Why can't you just have a conversation and you guys decide if you can continue moving forward? Like, he wanted to get married, so she just ghosts him and disappears for 2 years.
Yeah.
This is 2 adults. Adults don't do that. If one person wants to get married and the other one doesn't, I've seen this happen with my friends. They would say, hey, I don't want to get married, I don't want to do that, but I still love spending time with you, and they're still together. You just have a conversation and you decide, can you move forward in that direction or not? But the fact that she decided that marrying him was not in the question, but she could take his money, I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like Scott wants to be in love and get married and settle down because he's sown his wild oats.
Yep.
He's told us his stories of what he's done and the women that he's dated and how, he definitely wasn't ready to settle down. Now that he's ready to settle down, I feel like Scott is ignoring red flags because his eye is on that prize. He's like, I want to get a wife. I want to settle down. I want to move in a house, have our little dogs. And he has this goal in his mind, and he's just letting all of these red flags go right past his face. Like, I feel like this woman is not right for him either.
Yeah. But also another thing, he kept saying stuff like, I love you, I missed you. And her response was, I know. Like,
Right.
Not, I miss you. I love you too. I know. You look beautiful. I know. Like, did he pay for her flight there?
Probably so.
Absolutely.
So that's what she saw. Dollar bills. I don't think that all their posts on Instagram and stuff, yeah, they look super cute, super in love, all that stuff. I will give them that. But I think it lasted until the show ended. When the show ended, she ghosted again. I bet you anything.
Well, yeah, because
That's what I was fixing to say because on the previews she says something that he is bringing up marriage again, and she said that he is being too clingy and she doesn't want that. So she may just be on one more, maybe again next week, and then we probably won't even see her no more. because she doesn't want that. Because now she knows that he's not with Lydia, so she don't have no competition anymore.
Yeah, doesn't have to
Nobody
fight.
else ain't taking her money.
Yeah.
See, that is, I hate
Just
that.
saying.
I hate that for
I do.
Scott because I feel like now that he's really ready to settle down, all the women are doing him so wrong.
I
And
know.
I don't know, maybe it's karma. Isn't that what they say when the women wanted you and you didn't want them and you hurt their feelings? Now that you're ready to settle down, he's getting it back. Like maybe that's the universe saying, hey, all of these women that did want to be with you and you said no, this is how we're gonna repay you now. Like maybe that's what he's going through.
Well, I hope Liz and Lydia know that I am woman shopping for Scott. I'm going to pick out the right woman that's not a user, that's looking for love, that wants to settle down, that loves mastiffs. I'm going to find him the woman.
We should have a live and we should interview some ladies and try to get the right lady for Scott, because I just feel like he's 2-0 right now. And I mean, I feel bad for him because he's a really nice guy. Because I hated that Lydia and Nicole spent some time tonight trying to make him look like a bad guy. You know, like, it is not illegal, okay, to talk to your ex. And he said that she called him before he left. He was not in contact with her while he was there.
I don't care. Nobody in their right mind is going to say, oh, I just met you today after talking to you for a year. Also, I've been talking to my ex that your daughter is grilling me about. Nobody's going to confess that. You're trying to see where this goes. You can't fault him for that.
Well,
you can't fault him at all. Also, why were they on the show anymore? They're done. Get them out of here.
That was what I was thinking too. I was like, why are they not filming from their house? Yeah. Why are they still at the resort? What is going on? Why haven't they gone home yet? Like, that was my question. I was like, so Lydia and Nicole are here. Why? Is Lydia going to bring another guy so she can start dating someone else? Like, what's going on here? Unless the producers are going to accidentally have Scott and Liz and Nicole and Lydia filming in a common area so they can notice the commotion. You know, maybe that's what we're waiting for. Which I'm good with that. I want to see that.
Nicole can try to yell in English a little bit. Like, these people, like, I don't use the word hate ever because that's such a strong word.
Yeah.
But I dislike Nicole and Lydia to the level right underneath hate. That's
all the way to the top.
All the way to the
I understand. I mean, they are very unlikable. I'll put it that way. Like, when you put them on your screen and you're looking for something to like and you're like towards the end of the scene and you haven't found anything, they're just unlikable.
Yeah.
You know, everything that they do and say, it gets under your skin. And we've watched them for 4 seasons on the Family Chantel. So we have gotten to know them and we're still looking for that likable factor. And we still haven't found it. We're beginning to think it doesn't exist.
No, I wish
it don't exist. It don't exist. So yeah, we know the real Nicole and how her whole family is. We know the real deal. You know, they're trying to put on this fake that they nice and everything. No, Lydia and Nicole, they are no. There's no liking to them.
Scott said on his last night that he fell down the rabbit hole of the Family Chantel. And I was like, man, if only done that first, you would have never been on that trip.
Yeah, he said that would have been very useful information for him had he had watched the show. And I was like, see, a lot of people think that everyone watches 90 Day, and it's like a lot of people don't. I meet a lot of people on a regular basis who are not into the TLC shows as much as we are. So it's very possible that these people have gotten involved with the people from the show and they're completely unaware of the drama trail and craziness that these people leave behind. And I think Scott is one of those people. He learned after the fact what he was getting into, and maybe he was set up. You know, maybe Alejandro and Nicole had something to do with that. Maybe he was set up.
I still say that's what happened.
I feel like
something to do with it. I don't feel like Nicole had anything to do with it. Nicole wants to take credit for getting her mom back on TV, for getting herself back on TV. That's all they want. They're all about the money. Doesn't matter. Just $1. Just $1. That's all she wants, you know? That's ridiculous. Get her out of here. Get her mom out of here. I'm so done with them. Yuck.
Like Miss Karen always says, or used to say, they trying to harvest the American dollar.
Miss Karen, that's true. That's true.
Yep.
Miss Karen has never said truer words,
Yep.
right? I feel like Miss Karen could write a book of quotes.
And it seems like it, because every time 90 Day Fiance comes on, it seems like they're right there.
Yep.
We see new faces, please.
Yep.
Like, yeah, we're tired of Lydia and Nicole.
Yes.
So Matthew told Anna about the 2 years, and we know this last week, and she stormed off. She did come back. I was worried that she was just going to disappear, but she didn't. She came back, and she said that she would wait for Matthew forever, regardless of how long it took. And then right after that, she said, as long as I can get my visa and come to America. And I don't know, Matthew seemed happy with that statement. How do you guys feel about Anna's feelings of the 2 years? Because I feel like 2 years is not a long time. When you have a lifelong goal, right? 2 years is very small in the grand scheme of things, to say that she's what, 24, 27? And she's waited all these years, and now it's only 2 years away, possibly shorter. I feel like that's not a big obstacle when you've waited this long, your whole life, right?
I feel like it's exactly what you said last week, George. You said it would take her longer if she got with someone else to get a different visa. Yeah. So she's like, man, I've already invested this time. I can't quit now. You know,
well, yeah, starting the process over would take way longer than the process that she's in now.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, so the idea that the paperwork has been filed, they're just waiting on an approval and an interview. There's no reason to start the process over, and she'd have to find another guy, convince the guy to be with her, go through the courting process. I feel like she's put in all the work. Now the only thing she has to do now is wait.
Yeah.
And then the waiting, it's limited, right? It's already been a year, and it could be up to another year. And I feel like in the grand scheme of your lifelong goal, this is the light at the end of the tunnel. You can see the finish line at this point. Before she met Matthew, there was no finish line. She hadn't even started the race.
Yeah.
So at this point, I feel like she looked at it as, I can't give up now. That's like running half of the marathon.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'm halfway done. I might as well just finish. I made it this far, and I feel like that's kind of how it ended up. Is Matthew okay with it? He kind of seemed like he was, right?
Matthew seems like as long as she's paying him attention, he's fine with whatever.
Yeah, and it ain't like she's got to deal with him the whole year. I mean, he's leaving again, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I worry about. Like,
it's a win-win situation. So.
What do we think she's doing and up to when he's not there? That's what I was thinking about, because he leaves for so long, and it had been so many months since he had seen her last. What do you think she's up to while he's not there? Because we saw how difficult it was for her to not get hit on at the carnival with him present. So what do you think is going on when Matthew's not there to see what she's doing? That kind of crossed my mind too.
I think whatever she wants to go on is what's going on.
Really?
Yeah.
You agree?
I mean, yeah, because, I mean, she loves the party. She's done, how many times did she say it?
Yep.
That she loves the party. That's what she wants to do. She loves to drink. She loves the party.
Yep.
She loves to do what she wants to do. So, yeah, I mean, she does whatever she wants to do.
Yep.
Interesting.
He's not gonna man up and say, oh, you can't do this, or I don't want you doing that, because the first time he makes her mad and she's gone, then he's not gonna get another one like that. He knows he's got to watch what he says to keep it.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows that she's out of his league.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a Gino and Jasmine situation. It's like there's only so much you can say or put your foot down, because they could easily move on to the next guy. And I hate to say that, but it's true. She's beautiful, she's young, she's athletic, she can move. We saw it. She couldn't walk 10 feet in her own country without multiple people trying to find out her dating relationship status. So it's very possible that she could just move on to the next guy. The guy might not be an American, you know, so that might be a turnoff for her, because her lifelong goal is to end up here. But if she wanted to replace him with someone else, or you guys think there might already be someone there that he just doesn't know about?
I think there's many someone's there.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's
Wait,
interesting.
she's only in it for the green card.
100%.
She is only in it for the green card. How many times or how many more times does she have to say it?
Yeah.
I mean, she hasn't come out and said, I'm just with you with the green card, but the way she talks, the way she keeps bringing up the visa, the way that way she says it, she's pretty much telling him, dude, I'm only with you because I want the green card.
You're right. You're
America.
right. She never says, I wait for you because I love you. She says, I wait for you because I love you and I want to come to America. You're right. She always adds that in. And it's never just because I will wait for you whether, whatever country we live in. She never said that. She never said it could be in any country. She never said that whatever happens with the visa. It was never that. It was, I'll wait on you as long as the visa process takes. That is exactly what she said. And I feel like it's a red flag, but like you said, she's been open, honest, and upfront. If Matthew doesn't want to react to the red flags, that's his problem. Because she's been open, honest, and upfront.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be sad. It's going to be a sad ending for Matthew.
Yeah. I think that he really does love her and he really wants to make this work. And I think he's afraid of losing her. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Whether it's before she gets here or after. Like, it's inevitable. Once she gets here and gets what she wants, what would be keeping her there, with him?
I don't know. She may pull a Pedro. She may pull a Pedro.
Oh, make it
stay there until you get your final green card, then they can't take it away from you, and then haul-tail.
That's true. She may.
Well, Pedro actually stayed longer than it was required.
Yeah, but
until he got his final green card.
The permanent citizenship. But he only had to wait 5 years to apply for that. He waited 7.
But how much hell is it to have to wake up to Chantel every day? That poor guy wasn't rough he's so beautiful. Like, he was not roughing it. Come on.
It was not hard. It was like
apart that blows my mind.
And what another thing was, Chantel was working and he was in school, and then they switched, right? So they let each other attend school and they worked on their goals. And a lot of times we were watching the show, she would come home from school or work and he would be playing video games. So he wasn't roughing it at all. It was a pretty easy road to that permanent citizenship card. So you're right. It was not like he was struggling, okay?
Waking up with a gorgeous woman. You've got money handed to you. I mean, you're away from your psychotic mother and your psychotic, like, you're in a whole nother country away from them. He had it freaking made. He had it made. He's an idiot.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know why he ever walked away from what he had. It was like having something served to you on a silver platter. Like, that's literally what he had. Someone served him a green card on a silver platter. That's exactly how this worked out for him. So the fact that he walked away. Did you see the house that they have bought together and how they were living?
They had just bought it. They had just freaking bought it.
Insanity. The fact that he walked, it was a beautiful home. They both had brand new cars. They were living a lifestyle people only dream of. And he's married to a nurse, a beautiful nurse, an educated woman. She's doing things that and his biggest complaint about her was she travels too much. I've never heard anything like that in my life. First of all, I love to travel, so I would never say that. But he was like, oh, she just likes to spend money and travel. And I'm like, well, when you live in a house like that and you're on TV and you have the money and she's working 55 hours a week as a nurse, I think she's entitled to take a few trips. I think that's an entitlement.
You're lucky enough to have her on your arm candy as your arm candy. Man, just shut your mouth and walk. Like, hold your head up high and walk.
So
I think that once she gets here to the U.S., once the visa thing, I will be very, very surprised if she stays that long. Because she's got the visa in focus. That's all she talks about. She doesn't even talk about, I yet to hear her say about the future she wants with him when she gets here.
That's
It's all I hear is visa, visa, visa.
Yep.
She may not stick around that long. As soon as she hits the American soil and gets that green card in her hand, she's gone.
I agree.
That's true. I think you only have to stay together like what, a year or two, and then you can just
I think
apply.
it's up to 2 years. Yeah.
And then you can just apply for like your own, because once you get here, it's very difficult to get deported, which I think is really interesting because they want to cut down on fraud. But once you get here on a K-1 visa, even if you break up 6 months into it, they still let you stay. You just have to apply for different things to make it valid, which I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But I want to talk about April and Valentine, because first of all, there was a lot that happened on this episode. We met April's ex, Mike, who seemed a bit older than her, right? He seemed older than her. That was
Business.
and business partner.
Yeah.
Yes, and business partner. What did we think of him?
Yes.
What did we think of him?
I'm shocked. That happened and I was speechless for a moment. Like, none of that has been said at all.
Not
all of
Me too. I seen him and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Did she just say that was her ex
of
and their business partners?
Yes.
Wait a minute. This is her type. I mean, I'm not, down on anybody. I'm just saying, like comparing him to Valentine, like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, it just threw me off. It threw me off really bad.
Yes. I was very shocked and confused as well. But what was interesting to me was she was like, oh, I'm going to try to go find Valentine. Get yourself, let's go. And he did. And I was like, see, I do feel like April is attracted to men that she can control. She can say, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. What I want is what's going to happen. And that's kind of what boiled over with Valentine, because he was like, I acted like I was cool with the way you disrespected my mom's home and her bathroom. But he's like, I'm not okay with it. He's like, I'm not okay with the fact that you think you're better than us.
Yep.
You're not. He's like, you're a human being just like us. Yep. You can't say that my family's, the way that we live, the way we use the bathroom is not up to your standard. Yep. Like, and it's funny because she travels a lot. Traveling is something that she does a lot. So you see a lot of different, vast differences in culture when you go from country to country. A lot of people say the first thing they notice is the vast difference of culture, like how people are living, how food is prepared, how, cleanliness, that is something that you notice. And for her to be a frequent traveler, her ignorance towards other cultures is kind of insane, right?
Yep. I agree. First of all, I was so proud of Valentine. I get him so confused between the two. Valentine. I was so proud of him for, just saying, basically, I don't care how much money you have or what your status is or whatever. You have no right to disrespect my family. We're all human beings. We all bleed the same. Like, that, good for him. I was so proud of that. I was blown away by the ex. There were so many things, but for her to, because he called her a gringa. She doesn't even know what that means, and she's pissed and leaving. So he called her a foreigner. Big deal. Well,
okay, so Jasmine calls Gino her gringo. I didn't think that it was a derogatory term.
It's not.
It's not. It's not disrespectful at all.
No.
It's not. I mean, it's their way to call us American.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I thought. It's
not disrespectful at all.
Not at all.
She made it seem like he called her out of her name, or he was being derogatory. Yep. And I was like, I don't think, and it's so interesting because she's so smart, she's so educated, and I feel like things go over her head a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she doesn't always know what's going on, and I don't know if it's just because she doesn't want to learn or understand what's going on around her. But I don't know. I feel like the fact that she got so angry at him for not telling her where he was is part of the controlling nature. She doesn't feel like he has the right to have his own time or his own space. When she's like, if I'm in town, you should be wherever I am. If I'm here, you should do whatever I want. You should go on a trip with me. You should go to this beach with me. You should be in the car with me. If I text you, I should know where you are. I feel like the controlling nature is why she ended up with him. Because she said in the beginning, she's dated business owners, lawyers, doctors, all of these powerful people. The more powerful you are, the least likely you're going to let someone control you. And I feel like the main component. Yeah.
I feel like with the way that she acted and stormed off, I don't think she would have done that if her ex wasn't there waiting in a car, ready for her to go. If
Really?
she was alone, I don't think she would have. I think she would have sucked up to him and, I'm sorry, let's go back to the hotel, let's talk. But she had to make a scene out of it, make him look like a bad guy, and then go to her ex. That was such a power play that it was ridiculous. If the tables were turned and he couldn't find her, and he finds her, and he shows up with his ex, who gives a shit about everything else? He's going to lose his mind. Or she's going to lose her ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Well, does he even know that that's her ex?
No, that's what I'm saying. She didn't even give him the opportunity to be like, who's that in the car? You know, who's driving? Is that her? You know, she just slid that in under the radar and thought that it was A-okay.
Well, yeah, if she's doing it, it's okay.
Yep.
She can't be questioned. And I think, again, it's part of this control thing that she has. And it's like, it might be because she's a doctor. It might be because she has so many degrees and she feels that she's earned the control of others around her. And I feel like she's dating a guy that's not financially equal on purpose. There is no circumstance or, what's the word, coincidence that this happened, right? This is not coincidental. I feel like her being in charge is a part of, it's a part of the deal. If you want to be in a relationship with her, she needs to be in control. And the guys that she's dated in the past wouldn't give her that. And I feel like that's how she ended up dating Valentine. And Valentine was like, look, I'm a man, I'm an adult man. And if we're in a relationship, you don't get to control me. I get to make my own decisions. And he's right. Regardless of how much money you have in the bank, you are in an equal relationship with the other person. You could be dating the president of the United States, okay? You are in an equal relationship with that person. He can't tell you what to do, and you can't tell him what to do. It's a discussion to be had between the two of you. And I feel like she's single because she doesn't have discussions with the people that she's with. She has dictatorship statements. And she's like, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going, this is what I'm doing. And if they don't like it, they end up gone, and then she ends up alone, and she's not seeing, she's the creator of her single problems. Like, she's the creator of her being single. She's the creator of not being able to keep a guy with her because she's emasculating the man and making him feel he's inadequate, which I think is the worst thing you can do, especially when there's an income gap. Men are super sensitive, okay? Like, men are very sensitive when it comes to that income gap. So when you bring it up every single day and make them feel horrible about it every single day, he's probably gonna leave, right?
Yeah.
They already feel inadequate because we were, for some reason, programmed. We're supposed to take care of a woman, even though a woman can fully take care of herself on her own. We were just programmed to believe we should be doing that. So I feel like her throwing it in his face literally daily, throwing it in his family's face, literally every chance she could get, he's just not attracted to her as a human being. She's beautiful, she's pretty, she's educated, but as, like you said, she's so educated but has no manners. He can't be in a relationship with someone who has no manners. Who knew you could have so many college degrees and have no manners?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, can we talk about how in the beginning of tonight's show, she said that she didn't understand why Valentine was mad because he said that she was disrespecting his family, and she's never disrespected his family.
Yes.
Just blind.
Are you serious? Are you serious? If she could have seen the look on my face when she said that, I'm like, you haven't disrespected his family? Are you serious?
All she has done is disrespected his family.
Has done nothing but disrespect them and belittle them and like pretty much dehumanize, or what do you call that word? Like, I don't even know what the word in English is, but anyway, like really lowered them, like really, really low, just because of, you know, of their the way they live, their home and everything. But I think she needs to get up with Jordan, and Jordan needs to show her exactly how to treat someone from a foreign country.
Yeah,
I agree. Jordan was carrying those waters back a mile to Everton's home. She took what it was of their culture and she embraced it. She didn't say like, oh, well, in my house, it runs in the house and I would never do it. No, she embraced what the culture was and she used it as a moment to be humbled. But this is very important to know that this is what you have to do just to get water in your home. That's humbling for me. It makes me go back to my home and makes me grateful for what that we have, because everyone doesn't live that way. But instead, April looks at it as, wow, you live this way? I would never live this way. Like, that is such a horrible way to make someone feel, because there's plenty of countries to this day that don't have running water in their homes. They carry the water on their head, they carry it on their back, and it's miles, okay? Miles. We're not talking about going 5 minutes down the road to the Walmart and buying a case of water. We're talking miles. And to make people feel bad for the culture and the way that they live. And I think what Valentine was saying, he was like, my people are harder working people than your people. And I think that's where she was kind of getting offended, because she's like, how dare you say that I'm not a hardworking person? And, you know, I feel like she was offended by that. But let's be realistic here. The people in other, it's true, right? They are working 3 times as hard as we are to make 3 times as less money that we're making. It's 100% true.
Yep, I agree. That truer words have never been spoken. As soon as he said that, I was like, that was as good as slapping her across the face, because she was like, she was so offended. She was just, but then again, you could also see the ignorance. Like, she was offended by that because she felt like she works harder because she has these degrees. No, she went to school for these degrees. She learned these things, but she doesn't physically work harder than any of those people.
Exactly.
I harder than any of those people.
None of them
and I know
do. Yeah, and I respect when you go to these countries, and I visit other countries, and the people who work in the resorts, and they have to deal with the Americans. Like, they have to deal with our attitudes and our lack of cultural understanding. I respect them so much, because they go and they transform into these people to deal with us. They have to change who they are to deal with us, because we are just not educated enough to understand the culture we're going to. We don't do any research. We just get on the plane and go. You know, and so we don't have any idea of what we're doing.
You hit the nail on the head right there. We are uneducated when it comes to other cultures. This woman with all this major education, she is so highly educated, but didn't educate herself on one of the most important things in her relationship. That's unfortunate. Didn't even know Spanish. You can't tell me, with all those degrees and her intelligence and everything, that girl would probably know Spanish in 2 days if she actually put in the effort. She's smart.
But she just wants to pull him back to Texas, right? She's not interested in, because she can speak English in her work. She can speak English in her everyday life. So it's not a priority. But I do feel like when you're dating someone who speaks another language, it's just out of respect, you learn to communicate, just basic communication with them in their language, to show that you're going to put forth that effort. So, like, you're going to leave your country for me, but I'm going to make you feel a little more comfortable at home. I'm going to be able to communicate with you, just basic communication in your own language, just so you have that feeling of not having to leave everything behind, right? You're not ditching your culture. You're not ditching your family. I'm going to at least learn 20 words, right? Just so we can have that cultural connection, because you're giving that up for me. And I feel like she had no interest in having that cultural connection with him. Without that phone in her hand, she had no interest in learning anything about Spanish.
Yep, I agree completely.
It's just, it's respect. I mean, you got to have, you know, whenever we have partners from other countries, we want them to respect our culture. So why shouldn't we respect their culture?
Exactly.
It's got to be 50-50.
It is. That is such an American thing too. Like, we want them, and we watch it on the show a lot. Okay, so let's not drag Nicole, but Nicole and Mahmoud, she was, everything was, that's not how I do things in America. That's not how I would do it. This is how I do it in America. And I was like, Nicole, you were in Egypt. You're not in California, America, okay? Like, open up your mind enough to understand that this is how the world works in this part of the world. Stop being that American person who only thinks and understands how we do things in our little tiny part of the globe. This whole world is filled with so many different countries and cultures and languages and different types of people and different ways to live. Stop thinking that your way is the only way. And I feel like Americans do that so much. And it's okay, you know, if you're in America and you think that America's the only country that matters to you, that's fine. Don't go to other countries and make other people feel bad for the way that they live. That is something we have to stop.
I agree completely.
Yes, yes. I mean, I go on cruises all the time, so I go to different places. You know, I grew up in Mexico. I have seen gorgeous places in Mexico. I have seen places that you would be like, wow, people actually live here. You know, I mean, I've seen where, you know, I'm not trying to get off subject, but I've seen there's this one place we went. It was, they didn't even know a world existed outside of them. The men had, have y'all ever seen the movie Tarzan?
Yes.
I have.
Okay, you know how Tarzan had like the leaf in the front and the back? Okay, that's how the men were dressed. And the women had the same thing with the little leaves over. That's how they were dressed.
So
yes.
Wow.
No clothing, no nothing. So I mean, you gotta understand. You know, whenever you go into these other parts of the world, if you want to go visit, you need to study up on their culture. You need to be respectful, because even though we may not believe, or whether we do or if we don't believe in their, you know, in their culture, that's their culture.
Yeah.
If we're going to go visit them in their country, then we have to show them some kind of respect. Like we want them to show us respect when they come to visit us in our country.
Yeah. It's a lot like in Annie when they had their most recent season, when they were trying to get the kids to America and they had to go to the capital, and they brought her mom, and her mom was like, I had no idea that there was anything outside of our village. You know,
and there's still people like that. You'd be surprised, but there's still people that thinks that their little circle is the only thing that exists. So I mean, you know, you just gotta study. You gotta if you want to travel to all these places, you've got to study. You've got to learn their culture. So I mean, because I've probably been to places. I mean, there's a lot of more places that I want to go, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have all this culture shock. But before I go, I want to see what am I fixing to walk into? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not like, whoa, wait a minute, you know?
For sure.
Yeah,
I think that we have to be more mindful of how we treat other people and their culture and be open-minded. I think when a lot of people date someone from another culture or country, they're not open-minded. They just see things as, oh, you do that? That's stupid. Don't do that anymore. Don't say that. That's the worst possible thing you could say. Like, they were raised this way. This is engraved in their culture for generations. So for you to just come over and say, oh, I don't like that, let's not do that. That's not how it works. That's like going to a Catholic person and saying, I don't like that you're Catholic. Let's be something else. Let's be Protestant. Like, let's change that. That's insanity. You would never say that. You would never end that fight. It would go on for years.
Right. Yeah, I mean, me personally, I've never left the United States. Ever, ever, ever. And I want to, very so. But, you know, after watching all of these shows and things, it's almost like I don't feel like I have enough time in my life to learn what I would need to learn to go and be able to understand and communicate and be respectful. I can't imagine dating someone for a minute and then just going over and inserting my culture and my beliefs into everything, expecting them to adapt to me. That's just silly.
It's crazy. Oh, so next week we're gonna see that Valentine and Carlos are gonna have a conversation, which I assumed was gonna happen because you mentioned that Valentine never got on anybody's plane and went back home. So I assumed that this was going to happen. So there's 2 episodes left. So may or may not see them get married. I'm not sure. It's up to them and whether or not they want to be over the age of 7. You know, at this point, if they want to be mature and make this work, they could still get married. They're still there. They still booked everything. I think everybody's tickets are still valid. You can't really cancel them after a certain time.
Yeah.
So they could still make this happen if they would just be open and have an adult conversation between the 2 of them. But we're talking about Carlos and Valentine, so I can't say that that's actually going to take place because they both are in the place where I'm right, he's wrong. So I don't know how this is going to go, but I saw that they were communicating, which I thought was a step. You know, they were just ignoring each other's existence like little middle school boys who got into an argument on the playground. So I guess at this point, the conversation has been open. So whether or not they can move past it and be mature, we're going to see.
I don't know. I was hoping for that, but just by the comment, I mean, I realize we only get snippets in the previews, which taken out of contrast so much. But when Valentine made the comment, I'm still hoping that Carlo comes back and gives me the apology he owes me. It's like
if that's the attitude he has going into the conversation, we're not going to see a wedding. Because first of all, stop thinking people owe you an apology. I remember when Danielle was like, "Oh, I'm waiting for Johan to apologize to me." I'm like, "Apologize to you for what? You're the one that brought your ex in for his birthday. Like, I'm sorry, stop going in thinking that people need to apologize to you. Just go in with an open mind and listen. Stop going in with a predetermined thing like, well, unless they say I'm sorry, I'm still mad. Just listen to the person. I think that's the whole issue with Valentine and Carlos. They're not listening to each other. Yeah. They want to hear the other one say a certain thing and they don't hear the certain thing. They close off and shut down and the conversation can't go forward. If that's how he feels, they're not going to get married because Carlos isn't going to say, I'm sorry. Carlos feel like he's right. And I don't know. I kind of feel like Carlos is right. Should Carlos tell all his friends that they can't be friends anymore because Valentine doesn't like him? I don't see how that is a healthy marriage at all. Nope. If you can't have friends, if you had to choose between having friends and being married, then just have your friends. Because honestly, that's not fair. You should be able to have both. And if the person is telling you you can't have both, it's not worth it.
Yep, I totally agree. I don't know. I've been married for 9 years and my best friend is a guy. So my husband has 0 objections. It just is what it is.
Well, right. And if he did have an objection, you would have a conversation with him about it. That's because it's like Valentine had an issue, never met her, never really there was no conversation. Valentine was just like, I don't like her, stop talking to her, don't invite her to the wedding. That's not a conversation. That's not how you solve problems. Never
even met her. Get her side of the story. Ask her yourself. Do you like him? Would there ever be anything? Was there ever anything? Get your own damn answers.
Yeah. I think that if he would have done that, and that was the original plan, by the way. Yeah. He was supposed to meet her, get his own feelings for what was going on. And it would have been an easy conversation because she said when she met Carlos, it was obvious nothing was ever going to happen. Yeah. She was with a guy. She's living with the guy. It was never going to happen. So if he would have just been open-minded enough to have a conversation instead of yelling at his fiance about it, this never would have took off and made it to this point. It never would have even been an argument. All they had to do was all sit down, have a drink, and talk like adults. Yeah. And I keep saying that. I was like, I want them to be adults so bad because they're just kids.
So she's
had like 2 little 2-year-olds.
Portuguese princess says there needs to be a tell-all, just saying. We actually talked about that last week, and because there isn't a tell-all, when it's over, we're going to try to do a live with some of the cast members so they can unfiltered say their side.
Yes, we're going to try, fingers crossed. We're going to reach out and see who will be willing to give us some info. Megan is on our list, by the way. I definitely want to talk to Megan and find out. She's been talking about pictures, and I want to hear her whole investigation. I want to hear what she found, what methods she used. I am so interested because, you know, one will take it to the grave. We will never know what happened between him and this woman. He will not tell us anything. He has made that so clear. He is never going to give us any information on that. So I'm wanting Megan to come on and clear some things up.
Me too. And we know Scott will come on. Scott's already said he would.
Scott is gonna come on and we're gonna learn. I have so many questions about Liz. So I'm just her name's Liz, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Liz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have so many questions about her, and hopefully he can give me some answers about that, because I see just red flags popping up in my face. So I just want to see where Scott is with that too. All right, guys. So we'll be back next week. Oh, so The Other Way is coming back, which is going to be concurrent with Before the 90 Days, which is kind of out of order because we usually do Happily Ever After and then The Other Way. So I'm kind of excited to have two shows on at once, right? I think that
Happily Ever After. Wait, what is it that's coming on with it? There's two that we're getting, right?
Well, I saw The Other Way preview, and then we're still on Before the 90 Days. So The Other Way will be on Monday night, and
the couples therapy that they're throwing in.
Oh, I haven't seen the trailer for that. Is there a trailer? Oh, okay.
No, but it's coming.
Okay, I'm interested in seeing that. I saw a lot of pictures from when they were filming, so I'm interested in seeing that.
I think they said, if I remember right, it was like the first week of July.
Oh, so right around the time as The Other Way. I think The Other Way is
The Other Way is July 10th.
Yeah.
10th? Oh, so maybe a week prior.
I think it's right around the same time. I could be very wrong, but if I remember right, I was going, this doesn't make any sense that we're going to have literally, I mean, one show's ending, but that's still, three.
It's a lot at once, and I think that they've tried to stop that. They did it a few times where we had one show on Sunday night, one on Monday night, and then after it, there was like another spinoff, like maybe The Single Life. They did it, and it didn't do well. The ratings didn't do well for all of them because people were getting burned out. So I'm kind of interested into knowing why. Maybe they're really good seasons, why they would put them on. And it's out of order too, because we usually go after this season of The Other Way ended, it would go Happily Ever After, then 90 Day Fiance, then Happily Ever, or no, then The Other Way. So they took it out of order too, which I'm interested into knowing why. Maybe it's a really good season and they wanted it to air, or maybe there's some time sensitive information they need to get it out.
I don't know that this couples therapy thing is going to fail miserably. There's already so many people that are angry about seeing the same faces over and over and over again. And they were a disaster when they were on the first time. And we already know that most of the people that are on this have long since divorced. So it's not even, I mean, it's not even.
I called it a cheap way to grab some ratings, because I was like, they took their biggest names and put them all together, and they're like, oh, people will watch this because it's our biggest names. You know, they have the most interaction online. People will watch this, and I was like, I don't think it's gonna play out that way, because putting Big Ed and Liz on a show, I think, is just a bad idea. I don't care how many followers he has. I don't care how many times he trends on TikTok or whatever. People don't want to see that. I'm just gonna be honest. They don't want to see it. They're over it. They can be together. We just don't want to see it.
Same with Natalie.
We don't want to see Big Ed and Liz. We don't want to see Natalie. We don't want to see quite a few people. Like, come on. I mean, we already know where they are now, what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much who they doing and how many times they're doing it. So, I mean, come on.
What I want to see is the divorced couples that have met up and intertwined with previous cast members. That's the show.
So people that divorced and now are dating another cast member?
Yes.
How many people is that?
I don't know.
Oh,
that would.
We already know there's a couple of them doing that. I mean, we already know. I mean,
it's a show all on its own. Let's mix up these fools and see how it is in America.
I'd watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much I won't watch at this point. You guys know that whatever they put out, I've been watching it. There's not a lot I won't watch at this point.
Yeah.
But
it's 90 Day Fiance. I think we'll watch anything they put out. So
I'll watch it. I'm too roped in at this point. So, all right, guys, that's it for this podcast episode. I'm George Mossey. This is George Mossey Show. Make sure you're following me on all social media platforms at George Mossey, georgemossey.com. anywhere you get your podcast. And make sure you're following my co-hosts, Cara and DeeDee. They are tagged in this video. This video will also be saved to my page in case you didn't get to watch it when it aired just now. All right, guys. We'll talk to all of you guys really soon.
Okay, you guys.
Bye.
Have good weather. Bye, guys.
So,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.